Okay, so two problems before I think this table's ready to have the expanded metal put on the rest of it, the legs, etc. One is that I think there's a couple of weak spots, like right here. This joint is, I'll have to clean it off to see just how bad, but what if it doesn't hold? I don't like it. It looks nasty. So I'm going to go over it one more time. And then the other thing is that in examples I've seen, they sort of have like a, like a branch. I'm not sure how I want it to sit. I'll have to look at some pictures and see. But it just sort of looks like it's supposed to be there as a side branch. But I don't want stuff to get caught on it. I just want it to look like I don't know. I want it to look like a tree branch that I snapped off and used as the base for my tree table. Anyway, so I think there's one more of those, and also I think a couple of these joints are also pretty nasty. So I just want to make sure that it doesn't come apart, and that everything that's supposed to be tight is like it's supposed to be. So I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup work, do a couple more joint checks, and then I'll be right back with you. All right, so plaster lath is starting in earnest. Here's my plan. So I cut out a long section. As you can see, there's a piece missing off of that long sheet there, and I've sort of wrapped it around this post. This is the single standalone post, and I've just sort of wrapped it cylindrically around it. And right in here, I've sort of cut a few places so that it can go around this cross beam here. And I'm not quite sure what to do with this top piece. I think I'd like to incorporate this into the project where it looks like part of the tree. But all the branches can't have limbs that are that size. One side has to be the big end, and as it loops around, one side's got to be the small end. So, but since this is a standalone post, I'm just going to have I'll probably get a piece and sort of chunk it out up here so that this is enclosed in the piece. And I'm using these ties that I found that were in the concrete section. And the way that they work is they've got like a little tie at each end that you can grab onto to twist things around. The problem is what I need to do is sort of I've lapped this over, and I need to keep it tight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my muscly shears here, and I'm just going to cut off those ends, because I don't really have a use for them. And so now I've got a needle, and that lets me, sort of twist it in there, bend it, twist it like I need it to, and fold it up, and then cut off the other end too. I sort of went through and did that. I had a bunch of ties that I couldn't get them to fit through, because this thing doesn't do it. So I had to end up snipping a lot of them at both ends in order to make it fit through this plaster lathe. And so that's what I'm going to have to end up doing here. Is and also these are sharp little buggers. Can't really see where I'm wounded, but it's cutting me. So I'm probably going to get my garden gloves out, because I don't want to be cut. But this stuff is sharp, so keep that in mind when you're building your project. If you're doing this to build a project, don't play with this stuff with bare hands. It's mean. Anyway, so I'm basically going to go around to each of these pieces of rebar on the bottom piece, and I'm just going to cover them in a tube of plaster lathe, and then I'm going to tie the plaster lathe on using something like this. So I'm going to do that off camera, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I've covered it with the plaster lathe. I don't know that I necessarily like the proportions just yet. Like, I think it's a little fat, like down here. I've turned the table upside down because it just made more sense to be able to see where everything was going and to be able to tie everything in. So I basically looped everything around and then wire tied it to itself, and in a few places to the rebar, so that it'll have some place to hold. Like I said, I think I like it being chunky up here at the top. Well, in this case, the bottom of the branch. But as it gets further down this pipe, it needs to get narrower, and well, it's still pretty chunky down here. So, I can squeeze that in and wrap it around itself a bit better. But this video is getting a little bit long, so I need to wrap it up for today. But plaster lathe is on. I think, like I said, a little bit more fine tuning to make sure that I got what I want, and then I think we're ready for some concrete. I got Portland cement over here and bags of sand. I don't think I'm equally proportioned like I'm supposed to be. It's 1 part Portland cement to 3 parts sand. So those are only 60-pound bags. So I may have to be going to the store for some more sand. Anyway, that's sort of where we're at. We've got the plaster lathe on. I don't know how I feel about this one right here. It's really chunky over here, and as it loops down and around, I still need a little bit there. As it loops down and around, it gets thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner. And then, well, what the heck is this? I may need to cut it here and just leave a little triangle at the end, so that I still want, a leg, but in the design of the table, it doesn't fit. So anyway, that's where we're at. So thanks for coming along with me on this. This is really fun. It's wounding me pretty bad. I beat the heck out of my hands with that lathe. I got the garden gloves after bleeding all over the place. So anyway, this is super exciting. Thanks for coming along with me, and I'll see you on the next video.